When I started consistently uploading to this channel in 2022, I was still living in my apartment, burned out and trapped after long work days. I spent my weekends driving hundreds of miles to remote locations, deserts, forests, and mountains, living out of my car just to feel something different. I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I just knew that being outdoors made more sense to me than what I was experiencing in my daily life. I began bringing my camera along because I enjoyed photography and wanted to capture those quiet, personal moments. The light after a long hike, the stillness that settled after sunset, and the calm that reminded me that I hadn't completely lost myself to the stress of my job as a physical therapist assistant for the Navy. At first, I thought that this was a great way to cope with my stress, but all those weekend escapes began to shift something within me. The more time I spent outside, the harder it became to return to the life I was supposed to live. Working a 9-to-5 job, and let's be real, many times it was much more than that. This contributed significantly to my feelings of burnout and stress.
Documenting my experiences, embracing solitude, and appreciating the landscapes didn't just help me escape. They started to teach me who I truly am. There's something incredibly relaxing about being in places like Yosemite, California, and in the West in general. It felt unreal. Once I experienced that feeling, I was compelled to keep going. I fell in love with the creative process and storytelling, and wanted to dive deeper into this craft. In 2023, I bought a van and moved into it full time because it felt like the first real step that I could take for myself. It gave me a sense of empowerment I had never felt before. It offered great flexibility as I transitioned careers, but it wasn't an easy transition. With no prior experience, I faced challenges while building out the van by hand, but I persevered because I believed this life was worth pursuing. The challenges were crazy, from the many hours of physical labor required to build the van, to the emotional toll of financial stress when things broke. But looking back now, I'm glad I had those challenges. They taught me resilience and the value of hard work and consistency. 3 years after consistently uploading my first video on this channel, I'm still filming, learning, and convinced that this life is still meaningful. And yet, you're still here with me. Over 10,000 of you have decided to join me on this journey. What started as a way to cope with the silence has blossomed into a vibrant community. You've shared your own stories, you've listened, and you've checked in. On the days when I felt like a ghost in my own life, you reminded me that I wasn't invisible, and that my feelings and story were valid. Your presence has made this journey richer and more meaningful, and I am deeply grateful for your role in my journey. So before we go any further, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the comments, the encouragement, and the quiet companionship through every mile, every reset, and every messy rebuild. You've helped me keep going and reminded me why I choose this path. Thank you for being here. This wouldn't be possible without your support. As we move forward, I'm excited to share more of my journey with you, including new adventures, challenges, and moments of personal growth. I'm grateful for your continued support, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. My love for the outdoors was around long before I ever stepped into a van. It was where I felt most alive. I cherished the moments of camping, hiking, and getting off the grid. I spent years doing this before I ever picked up a camera. Losing signal wasn't a bother for me. It helped me embrace the present moment. It was like a reset button for my mind that often felt stretched too thin with the work that I was doing. Back then, all my outdoor adventures had to be scheduled. I would plan them weeks in advance, fitting them in between shifts and obligations. I would use all of my vacation time to be outside because I loved it so much. I often found myself racing against the clock, packing gear into my trunk on a Friday night, eager to chase 2 days apiece before Monday inevitably consumed all my time again. It was beautiful, but still just that, a temporary escape. I felt like I was surviving the week just to spend 48 hours pursuing the version of myself that I actually liked. The one where I slowed down and noticed the light filtering through the trees. Then van life changed everything. It transformed those fleeting moments into a daily rhythm. Now I can wake up more often to the world I used to chase. I don't need to request time off or spend weeks in advance planning meaningful trips. I felt like I could stop escaping and start living on my own terms. The transformative impact of this freedom was truly empowering for me. When I lived in California, my rent alone was $2,600 a month. It wasn't for luxury. Just a basic apartment. 4 beige walls and a space I barely had time to enjoy because I was so burnt out from work. Each paycheck felt like a silent exchange for my energy, time, and focus. It took a heavy toll on my spirit. I was handing over my life in exchange for a roof, and not much else. I felt trapped in a cycle. Work, pay rent, repeat. The calendar would flip, and I remained stuck, exhausted, uninspired, and unable to see a way out. You see, the thing is, it was not only draining my bank account, but also my sense of what was possible. Then when I moved into the van, it really felt like a breath of fresh air. Suddenly, my financial burden lightened, and my financial overhead dropped by thousands. There was no lease, no furniture, and no monthly anxiety spike on the first of the month. That financial freedom completely changed the equation for me. I didn't just save money, I reclaimed my time. I regained the mental space to focus on my creative work. I bought back the mental bandwidth to pursue my passions. I could even return to school without collapsing under pressure. I finally had the freedom to say yes to the kind of life I had previously put off, because now I had the space to build it. But it wasn't all easy at first. I experienced many costly breakdowns, and it took time to adjust to the loneliness of this lifestyle. I had to pay for storage units while I figured out what I truly needed. And things didn't improve all at once. They were definitely growing pains. This journey wasn't about escaping responsibility, but rebuilding my life with value and understanding what's really worth it for me. You might not think you have that much stuff until you try to fit your entire life into a van. When I left my apartment, I thought I could downsize in just a weekend. A couple of boxes, a few donation runs, and I thought I would be set. I was wrong. It took months to go through this process, and I found it challenging to let go. I started with a large storage unit because I couldn't let go of my possessions just yet. I still felt attached to some of them and the memories they still held. It was also the identities, versions of myself that I thought I might need again. There was a vague, stubborn fear that I might regret letting everything go one day. Box after box, I shifted through clothes that no longer fit my lifestyle, kitchen gadgets that hadn't seen daylight in years, and books I had already read but was still holding on to. Some items I donated, some I sold, and some items I just sat with, wondering why I kept them for so long. Letting go didn't happen all at once. It was a gradual process that took months. Weekends spent sorting through my things, and moments of quiet honesty when I realized I was evolving, learning to become more efficient with every item I released. Each layer I let go of, I felt lighter, as if a weight was lifted from my shoulders. I became less burdened by the past, more open to the present and future, less tied down to the image of who I used to be, and more focused on the life I was actively building. Now, everything I own fits inside this vehicle, and that doesn't feel like a limitation. It feels like a superpower. There's no excess to manage, no clutter clouding up my space or my mind. Every item I own serves a purpose, and every space holds something I actually use. When I started, minimalism wasn't my original goal. It was an unexpected result of getting closer to what truly matters. That kind of just happens when you move your entire life into a van. This van is more than just a cozy place to sleep. It's the center of everything that I do. It serves as my studio, my shelter, and the hub where all aspects of my life converge. It holds my camera gear, food, water, notebooks, and tools. Everything has a designated spot because efficiency is essential for my workflow. This level of organization didn't happen overnight. I built it by hand, piece by piece, learning what I needed through trial and error, and the occasional breakdown in the middle of nowhere. Over time, I've developed a workflow that suits me well. I could venture into the backcountry for weeks at a time, fully self-supported, allowing me to capture images and stories with intention, without the pressure to rush back to town. I wake up immersed in the scene I'm capturing. No commute, no scrambling, and no stress. If the light changes how I want, or if the fog rolls in, I can step outside and start filming. I think it limits the barrier and resistance to creativity. This kind of access to the backcountry is rare and opens up many filming opportunities for me. It removes a lot of resistance to creation, and I love that about this lifestyle. My van enables me to stay out longer and adapt to the environment rather than working against it. When I plan to camp deep in the mountains, I can acclimate more easily. I can pull over, set up a tripod, swap lenses, launch a drone, and capture what I need before most people have even packed their gear. My desk is a wooden table that I built by hand from materials that I purchased at Home Depot. My editing bay is my front seat where I can review footage, recharge batteries, and write scripts, all from the same place where I make my coffee, surrounded by nature. By shifting weather patterns, silence, and open space, I'm able to focus and think more clearly than I ever have before. Meditation has been a huge source of growth for me. I feel like I can go deeper when I'm out in nature. The distractions are fewer than they used to be, and allows my nervous system to settle in a way that it never could before. I can stay focused for more extended periods, and ideas flow easily to me. It's a creative ecosystem that I've built piece by piece, making this kind of work sustainable in a way I never could have imagined when I first started. It took a lot of work, and there were certainly growing pains, but getting the system to where it is now has been more than worth it. When I started college again, I wasn't sure if van life would fit my lifestyle. I imagined it would be a logistical mess, unreliable Wi-Fi, limited power, and the mental strain of juggling lectures, papers, and a creative career all from the back of a converted cargo van. I'll admit, the transition was tough. It took a while to adapt to the academic stress. The university demands a unique kind of concentration, and as a creative, balancing the rigidity of deadlines with the freedom of storytelling was a challenge. college. But over the past 2 semesters, something's changed. I finally found a rhythm that suits me. During the week, I spend a lot of time on campus, and I actually enjoy being there. The Wi-Fi is strong, the structure is helpful, and I head to the library when I need to concentrate. It's one of my favorite quiet places. Just me, my laptop, and a huge stack of notes that I try to make sense of. When assignments pile up or if I need to upload footage, being on campus provides me with the resources and bandwidth, both literally and mentally, to stay grounded and productive. On weekends, when there's no chemistry test looming on Saturdays, I switch gears and escape town as much as I can. In the forest or parked by a quiet trailhead, I find the silence re-energizing. Pressure starts to fade as I study under tree canopies and read by moonlight. When I need rest, I crawl into my bed and let nature surround me while I recharge. There are no loud neighbors, just peace, quiet, and stillness. Van life hasn't interfered with my studies. It has provided a better way for me to learn. It respects my nervous system and supports the kind of learner I've become. It has taught me when to push and when to pull back, when to engage and when to escape. Afternoon van naps between stressful classes are the best, though I'll admit I have woken up late for some lectures because of them. But rest is important for any kind of creative or academic work. Now with summer just around the corner, I'm filled with anticipation. The projects that I've been envisioning during those long study sessions finally have the time and space to come to life. For a long time, van life represented freedom to me. It was an escape, a way to reset, and a chance to breathe again. But my view of this lifestyle has evolved. It's no longer just about breaking away. It's about coming into alignment. This whole experience has taught me how to move slowly with intention, to listen before acting, and to create from a place of stillness rather than survival. I'm no longer merely documenting a way of life. I'm building something more profound, a rhythm, a voice, a way to explore all of the questions that we quietly carry. The van is still here, and so am I. Every time I turn the key and head toward a new horizon, I'm reminded that I didn't choose this path because it was easy. I chose it because it revealed something real within me. Even after everything, the doubts, the cold nights, the breakdowns, this life still feels worth it. It's not perfect at all, but it's mine. I've begun to feel a shift, not away from van life, but towards something more profound. It's a creative expansion that feels like the next step. This channel was born out of a love for nature. From those early weekends spent sleeping by my car just to feel something authentic. That stillness, that wonder, and that connection. These have always been the foundation of my journey, and I never want to lose that. Now I feel called to explore new stories, not just about how we live on the road, but also about why we are drawn to wild places in the first place. What do these landscapes teach us? What do they reflect back? How do they shape our healing, art, and sense of belonging? There are countless stories about people, places, and questions I want to pursue. Stories about resilience, creativity, nature, stillness, and the quiet beauty of not having it all figured out. This channel has evolved with the van, but it won't end here. I'm a storyteller at heart, and storytelling is all about evolution. What's coming next feels like the most aligned work I've ever engaged in. With summer just around the corner, I finally have the time, space, and clarity to fully chase these ideas. Not just documenting where I live, but exploring what truly matters and asking the deeper questions, why we wonder, and what we're really searching for when we venture out into the wild. If you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for being here, for sitting with the silence, for the stories, and for everything in between. This channel has always been more than just van life. It was built on a love for nature, and on the quiet moments that demanded more from me than I was ready to give. And now it's evolving into something deeper, more expansive, and more aligned with the questions that I can't stop asking. Many powerful stories are ahead. Stories about landscapes, adventure, healing, and the quiet beauty of not having it all figured out. I can't wait to bring you along this journey. But now I want to hear from you. What's one thing that still feels worth it to you, even now? Drop it in the comments below, and I'll engage with you there. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel for more van life, outdoor, and travel content. And before you go, you should check out this next video right here to see how I survived freezing temperatures in Colorado's backcountry. I'll see you over there.